Today's video is going to be all about living and working in the US. Amy, how are you living and working in America right now? It's thick. It was like 250 pages long. So the cost of my visa in total was essential. Also, if you've not tried Coke Zero in a wine glass, you're missing out. Okay, let's go. Hello and welcome back to my channel. So I have just recently relocated from Ireland to New York City, and the most commonly asked question I'm getting is, Amy, how are you living and working in America right now? So that is exactly what this video is going to talk about. I'm going to go in depth on the visa that I'm on, the process, the requirements, the cost, everything in between. I have a lot of notes on my phone, so if I'm looking down at my phone, that is why. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So if you're an OG follower, you'll know a bit about me and probably put the dots together in how I am working and living in the US right now. But if you're not, hi, welcome. My name is Amy. I'm from County Clare in the west of Ireland, and I have just recently relocated to New York City, where I will be living for the next 3+ years. So I'm going to assume if you clicked on this video, you're wondering how I am living and working in the US, how I got my visa, and you're probably wondering maybe potentially about yourself as well in the future. So this video is going to go into detail on everything that you need to know. Don't forget to hit subscribe because there's going to be a lot of New York City content coming. The vlogs are my personal favorite, but there will also be videos like what I spend in New York City as a 24-year-old, apartment hunting, apartment furnishing, and everything in between. I'm literally going to be bringing you along on every single part of my journey, and I'm excited to share it. So don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Okay, so the first thing that I want to talk about, is this my first time living in America? No, it's not. So I have previously done 2 J1 visas. So summer 2018 and summer 2019, I did the J1 program and came over for the summer to work. I was meant to come back in 2020, but COVID happened. I was also then meant to do the grad visa, but COVID happened. So that's where I stand with my previous experience here in America. And with that little backstory covered, that now leads me to here. And the visa that I'm on right now is the O-1B visa. Funny story about the O-1B, I didn't even know this existed. I was out in my hometown, back home in Clarecastle in County Clare, and an old friend of mine who actually lived in America told me about this visa. The title of the visa is People of Extraordinary Abilities. So when he said that to me and he was like, you'll probably be eligible for this, I was like, what are you talking about? I am not extraordinary at all. So he told me about that, then he gave me an immigration lawyer's name, and I took the details down. I never really thought anything of it. I was like, nothing's going to come of this, and that was that. However, here we are. After hearing that for the first time, it actually led me to research it a small bit more, and I did find out that I was eligible for it. So basically, with the O-1B visa, you just need a lot of proof and paperwork that you are good at what you do. So there was a lot of press that I was in. There's a lot of things I've done business-wise, awards I've won, campaigns I've worked on, and I had to put a portfolio together, and it was thick. It was like 250 pages long of proof of basically everything I've done over the course of my career. The lawyers put it into a case, they send it off, and then best case scenario it gets approved, and fortunately mine was approved. I'm going to get into all of the process now. So what is the O-1B visa? So the O-1B visa is for people of extraordinary abilities. Now I know that's an absolute crazy title because I wouldn't even consider myself someone with extraordinary abilities, but it basically just means that you're highly acknowledged or highly skilled in your area of work. So essentially that you're good at your job. And in order to get the visa, you have to prove that you're good at what you do. So I applied for my visa as a fitness and wellness expert and content creator, and I was granted it. This visa allows me to stay and work in America for 3 years, but it can be renewed indefinitely after that, which is the best thing about the visa in my opinion. Now the thing about this visa is it is a lengthy and a costly process. So in order to get the O-1 visa, you need to hire an immigration lawyer. My lawyer was Samuel Christensen. He was amazing, and I'll leave his details linked in the description box below. So for my visa, there's a lot of proof and paperwork needed. You essentially just need to prove to the United States that you are special and you are good at what you're saying you're good at, essentially. So there's 7 criteria that fall under the O-1 visa, and you have to hit 3 of them to be eligible for it. Luckily for me, I hit 4 of the criteria, so that made my case a lot stronger, and I'm going to go into detail on the ones that I was eligible with now. Again, I have them screenshot on my phone because the terminology ain't a bit of me and it's a bit confusing. So I'm just going to talk you through now the ones that I was eligible for. So I was eligible for 4 out of the 7, and you only need 3. So the first category that I was eligible for the O-1B visa under was I was a lead or starring participant in production or events which have a distinguished reputation. The second one that I was eligible for was I was a lead, starring or critical role for organisations and establishments that have a distinguished representation. Number 3, that I have received significant recognition for achievements from organisations, critics, government agencies or other recognised experts in the field in which I'm engaged in. And the fourth category and the fourth reason that I was eligible for the visa is that I've achieved national or international recognition. And that just basically means that I've been in a lot of press. So over the years, I have gathered quite a lot of press being a content creator and also working in the fitness and wellness scene. And I've won awards for everything that I do work in. So that all added together to really support my case. So they were the 4 things that I was eligible for the visa under. So just to break them down a small bit to make them a small bit more comprehensible, because that can be a small bit confusing just based on the terminology that they use when you're doing your visa case. I was a lead and starring role in my own brand and my own business, Active with Amy's. I also designed, created and sold my gratitude journals that I've sold out 4 times. So that was a product that I was a leading role in. On top of that, I had my resistance bands. Oh geez, I remember that. Then on top of that, I have worked with a lot of brands as well. So I've worked with Nike, I've worked with My Protein, I've worked with Women's Best, ASICS, wellness festivals I've worked at, wellness-based companies, supplements companies. A lot of brands basically that I've worked with, I have been a leading role in that. So that's what made me eligible in that category of the visa. On top of that as well, I've been featured as a guest in a lot of podcasts. I got 13 letters of recommendation. So it's basically from people within my industry that were willing to vouch for me essentially and say that I'm good at my job. Those 13 letters were like, they're letters of recommendation, they were reference letters, and that really, really helped support my case as well. So that was another category that was ticked off. And the press is the press. So over the years, I've been in press, I've been in magazines, I've been in newspapers, online articles like Cosmopolitan, The Independent, The Irish Times, I've been in Glamour magazine, I've been in Healthy magazine. There's just a lot of press that I have accumulated over my career over the past couple of years that really, really helped with my case as well. As a self-employed person over here, what a lot of people tend to do if you're in the content creation space, if you're in the influencer space, is you'll sign with an agency and they will kind of act as your work per se. Now, I didn't want to do that because it means that you are tied to one particular company. So instead, I got an agent. And what an agent is it's a US citizen, and it can be anybody. It can be a friend, but basically what this agent does is they just vouch for you. They sign a few papers, they give their personal details and stuff, and they basically just say to the US government that Amy is good at what she does, and I can vouch for her and say that she is really, really good at what she does. And like I said, an agent is brilliant because you're not tied to a company. It's just someone that will vouch for you, and then you'll find your own work from that as well, which I'll get into in a second anyways. Then the next step that I had to do was I had to get potential work letters. So my work varies, but it's all in the fitness and wellness content creation realm. So I work with brands, I work on talks, I do corporate talks with companies, I do university talks on wellness. I also teach fitness, of course. I'm a coach. So all of that kind of plays in. So with my letters of intended employment, and there's a few that I have work lined up here over the next couple of years, and they just detailed the campaigns, the content, and the talks, for example, that I'll be working on over the next couple of years, and the time frame they need me for, and the price they'll be paying me. Okay, so we've talked through the requirements, we've talked through the references, the work, I want to use an agency, how I was eligible for the visa. Next, which I'm sure you're all wondering about, is the price. How much did my visa cost to live and work in America? So the thing about the O-1 visa, like I mentioned earlier on, is you have to hire an immigration lawyer to get this visa. You're not going to get it by yourself. These lawyers are successful in getting visa cases approved. So my lawyer, total costs, including the filing fee, was $6,460. Not sure what that is in euros. On top of that, there is a visa application fee once your visa is approved. It's for the DS-160, and that is $190. Then my flights over here, which I'm going to calculate because it kind of pays into the cost of moving over somewhere. My flights cost me $870. So the cost of my visa in total was $7,520. Now, on top of that, I did have an extra few costs because I flew to Brussels to do my embassy meetings. So basically, it took me 10 months to get this visa, and I was getting a bit impatient towards the end. So the next available embassy meeting was in Brussels. Now, you don't need to do this. I could have gone to Dublin to do my embassy meeting, but I just didn't want to wait any longer. So I flew to Brussels because it was the next available visa meeting, and then I was approved over in Brussels. With the cost of Brussels, probably added an extra $1,500 onto the cost of my visa because I flew there, accommodation, flights, everything, and cost of just being there. But I won't include that in this video because it's probably not going to be the case for you. The next thing I want to talk about is the time it took. I had the first call with my lawyer on the 3rd of January 2023. I got my approval letter on the 27th of September 2023 after everything that we did, after all the process, all the paperwork, all the filing was done. And then I got to the United States, to New York City, right here on the 18th of October 2023. So it took me over 10 months in total to get here. Now, you can expedite the process when you send your case away. It is filed and done in 2 weeks. You can expedite it, but you can do that for an extra $2,500. And I personally, after spending the price I did on the visa, did not want to spend any more. So I just waited. And I think the filing time in total when you send it off took 7 to 8 weeks. And so the case is complete, it's sent off, and then they have to process it themselves. That took about 7 weeks. Then I was approved. And then once the visa is approved and you have the visa approval letter, then you book the embassy meeting. Now, I want to talk about the embassy meeting because I had a few questions on that. The embassy meeting is such a chill interview. Basically, I just think they do the embassy meeting because they want to see you in person and what you're like in person. So my embassy meeting was in Brussels. That's where I booked it for. Went in, and I honestly was just having the chats with my visa officer that was asking me the questions. He just asked me why I was moving to the US, what I was working as, and then we just started talking about Ireland. It was actually so chill. What I would say for the embassy meeting is just know why your visa got approved. I knew why I was getting the O-1B. I knew what I'd achieved. I knew knew what I was going to be doing. So just know your visa, which when you're in the process of the visa, you're going to know it anyways, because it will have taken you so long, so much paperwork and so much looking back over your career anyway. So you'll be absolutely fine. So the last part of this video I want to do is a little Q&A section. So I have quite a few questions for you that came in on Instagram, and I just want to go through a few of them just in case I've missed anything. So the first one, where did you find your immigration lawyer? So I was actually recommended this lawyer. His law firm is Samuel Christensen Law Firm. It's based here in New York City. He is absolutely incredible. I will link all his details down below. Next question, why couldn't you do your US embassy meeting in Dublin? So I could, it's just the time for Dublin is a lot longer than anywhere else. I literally went online, looked up quickest embassy meeting time in Europe. The quickest one was Brussels, so I flew to Brussels and got it done there. I had been in the process of this visa for so long and I just wanted to get to the States, so that's why I decided to go to Brussels. But I could absolutely have gone to Dublin, I just would have had to wait longer. Is there an age restriction? I am not too sure, but I'm going to assume there's not an age restriction on visas for America, but I could be wrong there, not too sure. Did you have to find a job? Did you have to get sponsored by the job you got? I didn't have to be sponsored, I just got an agent to vouch for me on my behalf. I had my line of work and the letters of my line of work lined up and in my visa process, and when being self-employed I just had to approve that ahead of time. Where in New York am I living? So I'm currently living in Manhattan. So excited to be here, so grateful to be here, and it's all still just sinking into me that this is my new home now, and I'm just so grateful. So yeah, I'm living in Manhattan. Does your business have to be X years old / successful to be accepted for the O-1 visa? I don't think so. What I'll do is I'll link the government website below with all the details to the O-1 visa, and if you tick 3 out of 7 of them, you could be eligible for the O-1 visa. The thing with the O-1 visa though is I would definitely recommend booking a consultation call with a lawyer. They will know far more than you will. They knew far more than I did. I knew absolutely nothing about this. I had a consultation call with them, talked through things, I sent a few things on, and they were like, yeah, you're eligible. We have a very strong case here if you want to go ahead with the visa. If you're thinking of going for the O-1 visa or any visa in general, I would absolutely recommend first step, get in contact and have a consultation with an immigration lawyer. What kind of visa did you have to apply for and how long does it last? So I'm on the O-1B visa. It is for 3 years and then I can extend it for 3 years, and after that it is renewable indefinitely. So it's a really good visa to be on. And then the last one, just want to say congrats and so excited for you on your next adventure, and thank you so much. So I hope this video was of benefit to you. I know I was so confused when I was doing the visa process myself, so I would have loved if this information was out there on the internet. So if you have any more questions, feel free to pop them below in the comment section and I'll be on there to answer them. But yeah, if you want to stick around, there's lots of New York City content coming, lots of America, US content coming. I'm just really excited to be here. So that is my visa journey. That is everything about it. But thanks so much for watching, and here is to life in New York City.